So my name is Aida Zafar, as you already know, and we are doing critical thinking in the classroom. That is our topic of today. All right, we're going to cover what is critical thinking. We're going to see how it applies to our daily life, and we're going to see how, as an educator, you can apply it specifically to your classroom. Okay, so we're going to start with an icebreaker activity. My question is, how are you feeling? Right? How are you feeling is such an easy answer. However, you're in my classroom. There's no easy answers over here, okay? So what you're gonna have to do is, we're gonna mix it up a little bit. We are going to make it funny. All right, so now, when you're going to answer, I need at least 5 answers. Come on, people, let's wake ourselves up. Let's wake up our creative minds and our creative brain cells. Don't just say what you're feeling, what mood you are in. Give the name of an animal and explain why. So, for example, if you ask me, how am I feeling? I am feeling camel. Why? Because I'm thirsty. I am thirsty, really, really thirsty. It is super hot. What about you guys? What are you feeling? Oh, somebody's feeling turtle. Why? Oh no. Is it because it's slow? Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Did my mic affect you that much? No, people. Up, 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 up. Come on. Oh, because you're slow. That's funny. Okay. Someone's feeling hoarse because they're energetic. Yay! Good. Kangaroo jumping around. I like to hear that. Panda, lazy. Okay. No lazy kids in my classroom. Okay. Pigeon. Oh, that is so interesting. Who is a pigeon and why? Oh my gosh. What would there be for a pigeon? Peck, peck, peck. आज का हमारा टॉपिक है क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग. आपको पता है क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग सिर्फ एजुकेटर्स के लिए जरूरी नहीं है. एज इंडिविजुअल्स हम सब के लिए जरूरी है. इट अप्लाइज टू ईच एंड एवरी पर्सन एवरीवेयर थ्रू आउट देयर लाइव्स. चाहे आप घर में हो, चाहे आप जॉब पे हो, चाहे आप एज एन एजुकेटर हो. तो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग एंड व्हाई शुड आई केयर अबाउट इट? क्यों मैं क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग को लेकर इतना परेशान हूं? क्यों? अच्छा, सोच लें. इफ आई एम बीइंग क्रिटिकल ऑफ यू, just an example. Agar main kisi ke bare mein critical hu, if I'm being critical and I'm sharing that with you, you might say, Aida, you need to be a little bit more supportive. Don't be so critical. Right? यानी कि जो अगला बंदा जिसको मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि I'm being critical of you, वो uncomfortable सा महसूस करेगा. Right? Critical thinking exactly ऐसा नहीं है. ठीक है ना? It's not critical in this sense, but it is so much more interesting because it involves the same uncomfortable feeling of when you tell somebody कि I'm being critical of you, या मैं आपको criticism दे रही हूँ. The point यहाँ पे ये है कि हम लोग हर रोज अपने comfort zones में रह के जीते हैं, right? Every single day, every decision that we make is based on what we are comfortable with, what we're used to, generally. राइट? कुछ ऐसे लोग होंगे जो कि कंफर्ट जोन से निकलना बड़ा शौक रखते हैं, लेकिन वो लोग ना बहुत कम है. But in general, the public, they believe कि staying in your comfort zone जो familiar है वो comfortable है. Critical thinking में आपने उस comfort zone से निकलना है. आपने वो चीजें सोचनी है या चीजों के बारे में इस तरह से सोचना है कि वो आपको discomfort दे. Right? Because जब आप comfort zone से निकलते हो and you get into your discomfort zone, that is when you grow. That is when it's a large part of critical thinking, right? Because it's all about going beyond the obvious. जो चीज obvious होती है वो आसान होती है और वो critical thinking के against होती है, right? Now you ask yourself, what do you know? What do you actually know? किसी भी चीज के बारे में, किसी भी topic के बारे में, what do you actually know? And what don't you actually know? Right? When you do that, when you question yourself, what do I know? What do I not know? जब ये not का सवाल आता है ना, this is critical thinking. चीजों के बारे में question करना, daily life के बारे में question करना, हर problem को as a problem, उसको take it as a problem to solve, right? So when you don't think critically, तो फिर आप क्या कर रहे होते हैं? What are you doing when you don't think critically? You're accepting everything without considering whether it is sensible or it's justified. So, for example, आपके पास Blue Band का एक ad आ रहा है, right? Blue Band margarine, everybody knows it. क्या कहते हैं वो अपने ad में? Make your kids taller, stronger, smarter. Is that true? I don't know, you tell me. अगर आप इस चीज को देखकर आपका एक ये रिएक्शन हो सकता है कि oh wow, this is wonderful. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to go to the market. I'm going to buy this, and every single day मैं bread पे लगा के, रोटी में लगा के अपने बच्चों को दूंगी. ठीक है ना? ये आपने face value पे किसी चीज को accept की है. Another example, right? Especially for the gentleman in my audience, a politician, when he gets up on stage and he says to his awam, कि oh, you are the topmost priority in my life. मैं जो decision लूंगा, जैसा करूंगा, मैं आप लोगों के लिए करूंगा क्योंकि मुझे आप लोगों से मोहब्बत है. Now, to some degree, okay, maybe that might be true. But come on, people. अगर face value पे लिया जाए, it's not really believable, right? एक आखिरी example. कोई न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट आते हैं, ठीक है ना, और वो मुझसे कहते हैं कि अगर आपने वेट लूज करना है तो आप अपनी डाइट में ज्यादा से ज्यादा फैट का इस्तेमाल करें. Make sure you consume a lot more fat so you lose weight. If I accept that at face value, what am I doing? I'm going to go to the market. I'm going to buy all the charbi wala gosht and the ghee and the desi makhan and the whatever. And all of this stuff is going to come home and I'm going to eat it. Allahu alam kya hoga uske aage. Only God knows. I don't know. But jo bhi hai, maine in 3 situations mein, have you noticed something? I'm not questioning. मैंने एक एक्सपर्ट की बात सुनी या एक प्रोमिनेंट पर्सनालिटी की बात सुनी और सोचा, oh, okay, this is what they're saying, so it has to be true, and I don't question, right? And this is so, it's everywhere you look at, ठीक है ना? This is everywhere you go. आप जो भी चीज देखते हो, you have to try and see कि जो भी हमारे सामने जो चीजें आ रही हैं उसके बारे में क्वेश्चन करने की आदत डालनी चाहिए. Now, every time we are faced with a problem, we tend to give up easily, right? We tend to give up easily, and that's because we are taught, again, हम लोग comfort zone से निकल नहीं पाते. हम comfort zone से निकलेंगे ना, तो हमारा mind condition हो जाएगा इस चीज को समझने में कि कोई भी हमारे सामने problem आती है, we need to stay with it longer. Simply, it's not about being more intelligent. It's not about being more smart. It's not about I'm born with it. No. It's about resilience. It's about sticking with a problem until you can come up with a creative solution, right? Next slide, please. Okay, यहाँ तक तो मैंने बहुत बातें कर ली हैं, ठीक है? अब मैं थोड़ा सा कम बातें करूँगी और मैं एक एक्टिविटी शुरू करूँगी. Look at the sentence that's in front of you. I'm going to give you a few seconds, okay? And you are going to count the number of F's in this sentence. Go on. Come on, people. Actually, the answer is 6. Excellent. Let me tell you something. When I first did this exercise a few years back, I only got 3. The first time I looked at it, I got 3. That was my answer. And jab hame bataya gaya ki it's not 3, it's 6, I felt so stupid. I was like, oh my God, maine kaise nahi dekha? What is a small 2-letter word that has F? There's 3 of them. How many of you saw that? How many of you saw that? We tend to miss it, right? Exactly. Okay. All right. So that's a word that many of us overlook. Exactly. Of. O-F. Of. There are 3 ofs in here. और कितने लोग इसको overlook करते हैं? It is very, very hilarious. Honestly, it's hilarious. Everybody did a fantastic job. So in the beginning, मैंने ना मुझे भी 3 नजर आए, and I thought, oh my God, क्यों नहीं नजर आया? Basically, it's not because you are less intelligent. I felt less intelligent, but it's not true. It's not about intelligence. It's just about a little bit of training, about noticing the little things. It's about getting your brain used to these kinds of activities. और हमें कितना टाइम लगा? मैं ये पूछना चाहूंगी कि people हमें कितना टाइम लगा? Because critical thinking की training की जब बात होती है तो a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, you know what, मेरे पास time नहीं है, मुझे कोई बड़ा सा course करना पड़ेगा, मैं expert नहीं हूँ, मैं psychologist नहीं हूँ. No, people, there's no excuse. That literally took us 15 seconds. This question, 15 seconds of my day was spent, of your day was spent just answering that question, right? और हमें फौरन result मिल गया. अब हमने क्या करना है इसके आगे? हमने क्या करना है? हमने रोजाना एक छोटा सा ब्लॉक ऑफ टाइम निकालना है, कुछ किताबें लेनी है, कुछ ऑनलाइन रिसोर्सेज लेनी है, सब फ्री में मिलेगा, सब फ्री में. अगर आपने किताब पे खर्चा करना है, that's up to you, but if you want to get, there's lots of free resources. Train your brain, do one exercise, takes literally less than a minute, and you're good to go. I'm telling you, if you do this every single day for about a month and a half, you come back to this question. Come back to it. I'm telling you, come back to it, and you are going to see 6 the first second. Talking about board games, there are so many board games out there like that develop critical thinking. The reason they're good is because they're good time to spend with family, and they're good strategy to use within the classroom. So you can have lots of games like Rummy Cub, which is a number strategy game. You have Sudoku, you have Scrabble, you've got Cluedo. Cluedo is a murder mystery game, which is also a really great game. Okay, so everybody, what you're going to do is you're going to have a piece of paper in front of you, right? And you're going to be shown a series of letters in front of you, all right? And you have to copy those letters in as quickly as possible. Okay. There we go. It's open. Fantastic. Okay, it's really short, it's really quick, and it's really fun. So if we can click Start Test, please. Start Test. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, people. So whatever letters you see in front of you, write them down quickly. They're only going to be up on the screen for a few seconds. Okay, all right. Yes, good. Now, next one. Continue. Get ready for trial 2. Okay. Quick, quick, quick. Can you get it all? Continue. Number 3. All right, it's getting bigger and more tougher, more complicated. Okay, continue. Number 4. Just write it down with you. Okay, same amount of time. Can you get it? Next one. Number 5, we're almost there. Okay. Last one. Whew. Whoa, look at that. All right, time's up, time's up. Okay, fantastic. All right, so how many of you were able to get all the letters at the very end, especially the last 2? There were so many, right? This is just another example of one of those games. Okay, stinky fish exercise. What is a stinky fish? Stinky fish is a metaphor. Basically, it means when you carry something with you that is an obstacle or it is something that you don't like to talk about, you keep it with you, right? But imagine that thing was a fish. And the longer you kept it with you, the more it'll stink, right? The more it will create a problem in your life. So, stinky fish, now I want you to think about what are the problems and the obstacles that come in the way of critical thinking? कौन सी चीजें हैं जो critical thinking में ना रुकावट डालते हैं? Whether in the classroom, whether in your life, come up with ideas. There's so many, but come along and engage with me. Tell me the ideas. What do you think stops us from thinking critically, either as a culture, as a human being, as a student, as a teacher, as a person? Maybe there's differences between male and female. I don't know. There's so many ideas, please. So there are a number of things. Who here is familiar with fake news? Remember fake news ever since last year? No, not last year. Ever since the last 2 years, there's been a lot of drama, a lot of talking going on over fake news. And fake news is something that is becoming a real problem in today's culture. अब Facebook खोल के देखें, ठीक है ना? पहले हम लोग की न्यूज़ की सोर्सेस क्या हुआ करती थी? न्यूज़ चैनल्स, न्यूज़पेपर्स वगैरह. अब फेसबुक है, अब बहुत सारे सोशल मीडिया के टॉपिक्स हैं. इंस्टाग्राम पे न्यूज़ चल रही होती है. वेबसाइट्स ने कितनी फेक न्यूज़ के आइटम्स डाले हुए होते हैं. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? Fake news is one of those things जहाँ पे, believe you me, ज़्यादातर 80 to 85% people, they accept everything at face value. It is so incredible to me कि हमारे अंदर हमें ये अपने अंदर ना, और हर कोई कर सकता है, अपने अंदर हमें ये चीज़ डेवलप करनी चाहिए सवाल करने की, कि अगर हमें कोई चीज़ दिखाई जा रही है, whether it's prominent or not, by a prominent person or not, it's still fake. I mean, कोई ना कोई चीज़ आपको वो क्लिक कर जाती है कि नहीं, something's wrong with this news, right? तो इस तरह के हमने अपने आप को वो करना है. If we can take a look at the next slide. Yeah, take a look. So we all know Abraham Lincoln, right? First president of the United States. Don't believe, unka quote hai, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. Abraham Lincoln. What's wrong with this picture? Come on, people, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it is that Abraham Lincoln is pre-internet. Exactly. Yes, thank you, Ms. Pat. In his time, internet was not there. लेकिन prominence की तस्वीर रखी गई है, उसके साथ एक quote दिया गया है, and it's absolutely fake और नीचे नाम लिखा गया है. How many times do you see such quotes online, Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and you're like, oh, yes, it must be true. हम लोग सवाल ही नहीं करते. You know, trust me, अगर कोई नहीं होगा ना जिसको नहीं पता होगा कि अब्राहम लिंकन, कि हर किसी को, हर कोई हिस्ट्री नहीं पढ़ता, हर किसी ने हिस्ट्री नहीं पढ़ी हुई होती. If somebody doesn't know who Abraham Lincoln is, they will believe this, right? All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, bias का मतलब होता है we only believe what we already know. अक्सर ऐसा होता है कि हम लोग के beliefs pre-determined already, हमारे अंदर beliefs होते हैं, right? And those beliefs are there, and we look for evidence, we look for things to support that belief that's already inside of us. You know, ये एक बहुत बड़ा hindrance है against critical thinking, right? So you need to be very careful about, और हम लोग unconsciously कर लेते हैं. You know, like for example, कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि आप किसी social setting में हो and you meet a bunch of people and उसमें से एक कोई शख्स ना आपको कुछ कहता है which absolutely you agree with, it's a perfectly good opinion और आपसे बिल्कुल मैच कर जाता है, तो आपका रिएक्शन क्या होता है? yes right, और लोग ऐसा क्यों नहीं सोचते, ये आपका रिएक्शन होता है. But honestly speaking, आपका रिएक्शन ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. I understand कि वो बंदा आपसे agree कर रहा है या आप उनसे agree कर रहे हो, right? However, agreement अलहदा, you need to question कि वो उस opinion के पीछे reasons क्या हैं. हो सकता है कि आपके reasons बिल्कुल अलग हैं और उनके reasons बिल्कुल अलग हैं. तो जब आप इसके गहराई में जाते हो ना, तो वो चीज, वो opinion का रंग बदल जाता है. Right? Because everybody has a way of thinking. Everybody has their own set of beliefs. हो सकता है वो belief ही आपसे match ना करे और उस belief को सुनने के बाद you kind of little bit disagree with that person, or you think, oh my God, really? That's what you think? This is why you believe this? I mean, come on, dude. ये भी हो सकता है, right? Now, this is just a very informal setting, but हम लोग definitely, you know, we should be open to everybody's opinion, 100%, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप अपने ही mind में question ना करो कि उनका opinion अगर है तो क्यों है और उसके पीछे क्या reason है, चाहे वो आपसे agree करें ना करें, right? It's not about agreeing or disagreeing. It's about questioning in a respectful manner. Okay, I'm going to give you a second. जो लोग उर्दू पढ़ सकते हैं, how many of you, moms, how many of you are guilty of doing this? Yes. Do you know what this is called? इसका नाम भी है. बताओ मैं आपका नाम क्या है?
Connecting with Aida's slide, अम्मी नजूमी, मुझे पहले ही पता था ये ग्लास टूटेगा. How many of you can relate to your moms, and how many of you are these kind of moms? Yes. So you know, we are also kind of these moms in today's world, that you know we also do the same to our children. But ये करना नहीं चाहिए, and we should be listening to the perspectives of our children as well. बट होता यूजुअली ये है कि हम उनका पर्सपेक्टिव तो सुनते नहीं हैं और हम एक फौरन से एक स्टेटमेंट जारी कर देते हैं दैट मुझे तो पहले से ही पता था तुम ये करने वाले हो. हालांकि हमें ना पता था और ना हमने ये प्रेडिक्ट किया था और ना हमने बच्चे को वार्न किया था. बट ओवरकम और यू कैन से कि शो करने के लिए कि हाँ हमें तो पहले से ही पता था, we give these kind of statements. So listening to other people's perspective, showing openness towards other people, that is also very important.
Okay, all right. Now, let's take a look at this one. This is called wishful thinking. Ye cycle, right? It's called wishful thinking. Wishful thinking wo hoती है, you know, you have your own ideas. कहते हैं ना कि मियाँ बीवी एक गाड़ी के दो पहिए हैं, right? ये है वो cycle. या एक cycle के दो पहिए हैं. ये है वो cycle. This is the actual cycle, people. आप लोगों ने क्या सोचा था, right? Right? So हमारे पास ना कुछ ऐसी मिसालें दी जाती हैं, कुछ ऐसी कहावतें हैं, and there are some things that, you know, where we have preconceived notions and superstitions and preconceived ideas कि ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा ही, अगर ऐसा है तो वैसा होगा, you know. इस चीज को भी bias कहा जाता है. ये वो वाली bias है जो कि हम जो चीजें हमारे लिए कंफर्टेबल है, जो चीजें सदियों से चली आ रही हैं, उससे ना हट के हम लोग सोचते नहीं, हम लोग पूछते नहीं है. Of course, you know, when you are together, you may disagree, you may right, somebody, so true, right? You may disagree, even if it's a husband wife. It's good you disagree. You can't just be robots and agree with everything that the other person is saying. Everybody has their own hopes and dreams. So this is what it is. Bias के पीछे नहीं भागना, इस हमेशा ज़हन में रखना है कि different opinions हैं, please उनका point of view जरूर सोचें. Critical thinking is all about that. ठीक है ना? अगर हम really सोचें तो critical thinking हर aspect of life में apply करता है. This is a personal life aspect. Superiority bias क्या होता है? Superiority bias वो चीज होती है जहाँ पे you think of something and usually ये ना ये वो बड़ी सी ये बड़ी personalities होती हैं जो वो कहते हैं कि what we believe is true and what other people believe that's not true या फिर वो इतना accurate नहीं है जितना हम सोचते हैं. So they decide कि मुझे कोई भी different opinion नहीं चाहिए, मुझे सब अपने जैसे लोग चाहिए, तो अपनी पूरी टीम को ऐसे ही लेके चलते हैं. Yeah, somebody said that's our politicians. Yes, that can be said. That can be said of a lot of our politicians. I think politics all over the world, basically, you know, they think they want to be, they want everyone to think like them, ताकि opposition ना हो किसी किस्म की, कि कोई ना वो ना हो. Nobody goes against their opinions. But let me tell you a funny story. We mentioned Abraham Lincoln, right? Right? Abraham Lincoln का बहुत एक मशहूर वो है किस्सा जिसमें ये कहा जाता है कि ये हम पढ़ते हैं कि when he was picking his team, right? उसके सारे advisors थे, सब लोग थे वहाँ पे. They mentioned someone. उन्होंने from the opposing party. Opposing party से कहा कि you know what, this person, he's constantly attacking you on a public platform. He's constantly talking about you. He's disagreeing with everything that you say. बहुत बुरा कहते हैं. इस बंदे को ना खत्म कर देना चाहिए. What did Abraham Lincoln say? क्या कहा उन्होंने? पता है आपको? उन्होंने ये कहा, make him join our team. Because I can't have everything I say be taken at face value. I need somebody who keeps me on my toes, who keeps me thinking to refine my ideas. Bring him in. Let's see. Maybe his ideas are better. You never know. That's a leader, right? And this is what we need to strive. Anybody can do it. ये तो एक leader की बात हो रही है. Anybody can do this. Next slide, please. ये कौन जानता है? What do you think? ये देखें, हमारी marketing में भी critical thinking है. Look at these marketing companies and advertisers. क्या होता है? ये wishful thinking में आता है, right? हम चाहते हैं गोरा गोरा होना और हमारे पास एक marketing scheme आज हमें टीवी में नजर आता है कि oh my god, these beautiful gorgeous actresses जिन्होंने बिल्कुल भी filter नहीं लगाया हुआ, जिनकी बिल्कुल भी photoshopping नहीं हुई भी, absolutely natural, बगैर मेकअप के खड़े में भाई कैमरे के सामने, तो हमें उनकी तरह बनना है और हम अगर फेयर एंड लवली लगाएंगे हम वैसे बन जाएंगे, right? This is marketing. ये होता है face value पे लेना. But do you know this is a multi-billion-dollar industry? जिसका मतलब है we need to really work on our girls and on ourselves कि हम लोग ना critical thinking डालें उनमें, right? कि question करो, how is this possible and why should you do this? This is not a person, right? Somebody said धोखा. Absolutely, people. All right, I want to talk about what successful people do and why they're successful. Very small story, ठीक है ना? There's a story that NASA has. NASA is the one body that sends rockets into space. They are concerned with all the things that have to do with space. उनकी एक funny सी story है, उसमें उन्होंने ये कहा कि when they first sent people to the moon, तो वहाँ पे तो gravity होती नहीं है, तो उनको ये समझ में आया वहाँ पे वो लिखने की कोशिश कर रहे थे तो उनका ball pen नहीं काम किया. Their ball pen was not working. And so they decided, oh my God, this is a new challenge. Money, let's spend some money and find out a nice creative idea to figure this out. We'll create a new pen. They spent $1 million. They created a new pen. They did so much innovation. बहुत बड़ी conference रखी गई. जितने भी NASA के partner countries थे, उनको भी बुलाया गया क्योंकि obviously USA ने थोड़ी सी show भी मारनी थी, है ना? उसके बाद सब बैठे वहाँ पे reporters ने सवाल किए और बहुत एक रिपोर्टर ने कहा यूएसए से पूछा कि आपने कितने पैसे इसके लिए खर्च किए, तो यूएसए ने बड़े फखर से कहा कि हमने इतना खर्च किया है, इतनी रिसर्च लगाई, इतने इंजीनियर्स एंगेज हुए इतने अरसे के लिए और फिर हमने ये एंटी ग्रेविटी पेन बनाया. अमेजिंग, नो डाउट. यही सवाल यूएसएसआर से पूछा गया कि आपका क्या ख्याल है, अमेरिकन ने जो किया वो कैसा रहा, आपको क्या व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दिस? तो जो यूएसएसआर के जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव थे उन्होंने कहा, वेल, I like it. I think it is a great idea, but we can't spend so much money. We don't use pen. We use pencil. So what is the point over here? The point here is, the moral of the story is that creative solution kabhi kabhar na बहुत simple होता है, and that is what you need to do. किसी भी प्रॉब्लम को प्रॉब्लम मत समझें. It's an opportunity for a solution. The successful people और हम लोगों की सोच में क्या फर्क है? सिर्फ माइंडसेट का फर्क है, ठीक है ना? वो लोग प्रॉब्लम्स को प्रॉब्लम्स की तरह नहीं सोचते. They look at them as opportunities for creativity. ये सॉल्व करने की बात नहीं है, बात ये है कि वो क्रिएटिविटी अपना माइंड लगाएं. एंड समटाइम्स टू हेड्स आर बेटर देन वन. जरूरी नहीं कि आपको अगर सवाल का जवाब नहीं आ रहा तो उसका मतलब है कि आपको आता ही नहीं, कुछ आपने कम में हो. नॉट एट ऑल. जस्ट पुट two heads together. किसी से पूछो. This is the way that we all learn, and this is the way that we come together. This is what community is. This is what growth is. Growth mindset. किताब पढ़ी है आपने? Do read it. It is amazing, you know. It is just wonderful how it changes your mindset. So successful people, they have the mindset that they use critical thinking in this way. They shift the focus from problems to opportunities. They are constantly learning. अपनी self development में वो सबसे ज़्यादा काम करते हैं. रोज़ाना कुछ नया करेंगे, रोज़ाना कुछ नया सीखेंगे, right? So you need to borrow this mindset. कुछ दिनों के लिए ये माइंडसेट बोरो कर लें, बल्कि इस माइंडसेट का नाम भी है बोरो इट. इट्स फ्रॉम द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ज़ेन बुद्धिज्म. ठीक है ना. ज़ेन बुद्धिज्म का एक कॉन्सेप्ट है जिसका नाम है शोशिन. SHOSHIN. शोशिन. शोशिन का मतलब है लर्नर्स माइंड. शोशिन, लर्नर्स माइंड, उनके ज़हन में उनका आइडिया क्या है? उनका ये है कि इट कीप्स यू, you don't pretend to know everything. सबसे पहली बात, you don't pretend to know everything. You have to be open to learning. ये दूसरी बात है. And the third बात ये है, without bias. So don't pretend to know everything. Be open to learning and free your mind of bias. ये होता है learner mindset. All right, people. If we can zoom in, please. Take a look at the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to ask you a few questions. You have to answer now. ठीक है ना? So there was this famous engineer. This is a true story. Guy de Maupassant was his name. He hated the structure of the Eiffel Tower. I'm telling you, he hated it. Paris, beautiful city. If you ever get the chance, please do go to Paris. Absolutely gorgeous city, right? वहाँ पे एक चीज बहुत prominent है, Eiffel Tower. किसी भी कोने में आप कहीं पे भी खड़े होंगे, आपको क्या नजर आएगा? Eiffel Tower. आप चाह के भी उसे नहीं, you know, you cannot avoid it. So, he hated it. What did he do? Give me an idea of how he avoided. Every time he had to go out of the house, used to do lunch at restaurants. But he would always pick a restaurant jahan se Eiffel Tower nazar na aaye. Where was this restaurant? Think. Tell me. Yes, somebody said under the Eiffel Tower. Excellent. There's a very famous restaurant under the Eiffel Tower. Go there. You'll love the food. All right, move on. Next slide, please. Okay, all right, people. So this is like a mystery sort of thing. So this grandpa, okay, if you take a look at this picture very briefly, this grandpa was home alone, okay? He suddenly heard a noise. Now, ye grandpa khud bata rahe hain kahani, okay? He's telling us the story. He says, I was sitting in the living room. I was all by myself. Suddenly, I heard something crash and break in my wife's room. I ran upstairs, opened the door, and I saw a very expensive monument shattered on the floor. I looked up to see there was an intruder, and he ran past me and out of the house. I naturally ran after him because I was angry. I ran after him. As soon as I left the house, my glasses fogged up. So I couldn't see him very clearly, and he got away. Seriously, since he broke our vase, I thought I should call the police, and that is what I'm doing now. This story he gave to the police. The minute the police heard this, they said, come on, Grandpa, stop lying. Tell us the truth. What really happened to the vase? There was no intruder, was there? How did he know? How did the policeman know that this story was false? I'll give you a clue. It was his glasses fogging up that gave him away. If you think that your glasses fog up from cold to hot, yes, somebody said cold to hot. Very good. Exactly. Cold to hot. When your glasses are cold, और आप जैसे आप गाड़ी में AC में बैठे हैं, आपकी glasses ठंडी है, बिल्कुल सब सही है. जैसे आप निकलो बाहर, गाड़ी से निकलते हो, foggy हो जाता है, right? It takes a minute to come back. So, since it's cold outside, he couldn't have been in the house to see the intruder. He must have been outside. This one false information in his story just kind of throws his entire story off. Ye choti details, and this is another thing that another exercise that you can use in your classrooms. You can use it. There's lots of. This one was one that was really brief and really short because I had to look for a really short one. लेकिन इससे लंबे भी होते हैं और इससे ज़्यादा interesting भी होते हैं. But you get the idea, right? थोड़ी सी mystery सामने रख दो, riddle रख लो, और बच्चों से कहो कि please, give us feedback. Very quickly, if you turn your right hand glove inside out, inside out, and you put it on your left hand. Where will the palm of the glove be on your left hand? Here or here? So this is a visual riddle. Yes, the palm of the glove will be against your left hand. All right, people, what do you see? This is a very famous painting. What do you see? What is it a painting of? A skull. It's not a skull. If you take a look, it's not a skull. It's a woman looking at the reflection, at her own reflection in the mirror. Now, what is this? This is where your eyes are playing tricks on you. This is also part of critical thinking. When you give optical illusions like this, you train your brain to not look at the obvious. Now, notice, if I look at this image from the center out, I see the woman in a mirror. If I look at it from the outside in, then I see a skull. Doing this again and again helps you train your brain to not look at the obvious, and it trains your eyes automatically. If there are any teachers and educators in the audience, I wanted to immerse you in these activities to show you that all of these activities can be used within the classroom and they don't take time. हमें हर activity में मुश्किल से 1 minute लगा होगा. And it's so good अगर आप इस तरह से आदत डालें बच्चों को भी और खुद को भी. क्या training होगी? बच्चे are gonna love your period because they're gonna love, okay, they're coming in there for an element of mystery. Thank you so much.